Welcome to Call Us Now. My name is Saku Feijoado. I'm standing in for Bill, who cannot be here this evening. Our topic on Call Us Now tonight, phobias. Things people are afraid of, things that upset them, things that make them unhappy. We all have fears. I have fears. I don't know what they are, but we all have them. But we have some people here with some pretty wild and crazy fears, let me tell you. Our three guests tonight are, we have a Dr. Sally Ruthie, a therapist apparently of some kind with regard to phobias, and two of her patients. We have a Mr. Edsel Corey with a very unusual phobia, as you will find out in a few minutes. And next to him, a Sandy Lundberg with an equally ridiculous phobia. Before we go any further, let me tell you that the topic of phobias this evening was suggested to Call Us Now by Tom Knowles. Thank you, Mr. Knowles, for your suggestion that we deal with this very important and relevant issue of phobias on Call Us Now. Let me turn to you, first of all, Dr. Ruthie, and have you tell us a little bit about the kind of therapies that you do, and please introduce your two therapies,
yes,
if I may so refer to them.
Thank you, Sacco.
This evening.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Dr. Sally Ruthie. I'm a therapist. I specialize in the treatment of phobias. I have an institute which is called the Ruthie Progress House. It's here in Seattle. And we specialize entirely on helping people deal with debilitating, unreasoning fear.
And you've brought two of your patients along this evening?
Yes, I have. The first patient has been working with me for some time. His name is Mr. Edsel Corey. Edsel, would you tell them just a little?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing.
I'll say it is.
I suppose you would. I'm afraid of riding in American automobiles. I mean, there it is. I know it's silly. I mean, some people are afraid of the dark or of heights or whatever, which does make more sense, I think. But I am afraid of riding in American automobiles, or for that part, I'm kind of unnerved by even being anywhere near them or seeing them. So.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you very soon, Mr. Corey. I'm going to have a few questions for you, and I think our studio audience and our telephone audience will also. Before we do that,
is that Mustangs too?
The Mustangs, yeah.
Oh,
well, we'll get into the makes a little bit later, Mr. Lundberg. Why don't you tell us what your problem is?
Okay, sure. I mean, they call it. It's diagnosed as autophobia, and it just sort of means it's sort of something you don't talk about like at the dinner table with your parents or anything.
Well, there's no dinner table here, Mr. Lundberg. You just go right ahead and tell us about it.
Okay, well, I was going to ask about that. Like, is there food a little later or something?
Well, maybe we can get you something a little bit later. After the show, we'll go buy a hamburger. Right now, we want to hear about your problem.
Autophobia.
Yeah, now what exactly is this autophobia? Phobia?
It's sort of like I don't like to be by myself.
That's it?
Well, it has to do with masturbating.
I see.
Yeah.
And what exactly is it you're afraid of, or dare we ask?
Well, that's sort of the whole question. Like, I don't dare, leave people and go by myself anywhere.
Well, what happens if you do?
I might do the end thing.
I see.
Yeah.
And this is a problem? Why? What's the problem with that?
I don't know. I just have this feeling that just something terrible would happen. Like, just I don't know what it would be, but just something really terrible. So I can't sleep or nothing.
Okay.
Is there going to be food here?
We'll maybe have something for you a little bit later.
Good.
Before we take any calls, this fear of automobiles, Mr. Corey, it's only American.
It's only American, as silly as that is. It's just American cars.
Well, how would it be if it was an American car with a Japanese car with an American part?
Well, if I knew about it, I would be very upset. And it's like if it was a small American part, like a little cotter key at the end of the axle bearing, if I knew about it and was in the car when I found out about it, I might develop a facial tic, or maybe my sinuses might get blocked up a little bit. But like if it was, say, the engine block, like say you put a little Chev 6 in that car, I'd probably puke all over the dashboard.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The phone is ringing. Let's see who we got here. Welcome to Call Us Now. Do you have a question, a phobia, a comment, anything you'd like to share with us?
This is the Blue Phantom, and my problem is that I have a fear of phobia.
You have a fear of phobias.
Yeah, a fear of phobia. It's a very unusual one, and I'm having trouble figuring out what the phobia was.
A fear of phobias. And this fear of phobia, I guess you would call this fear itself a phobia, and so you suffer from a phobia, and so you are afraid of your own phobia?
Yes. It's unusual, I know, but I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what to do about this.
Well, stay on the line.
If anybody having...
Stay on the line, Mr. Phantom. Let's turn to Dr. Ruthie and see what she has to say about this. We have a potential patient for you, I believe, on the phone right now.
This is much more common than most people realize.
Oh, really?
Actually, it is. There are people out there just like you, and you can be helped. I suggest that you look in the phone book. I'm not allowed to give my number. Call the Ruthie Progress House, and we'll talk. I can help you.
Well, I hope so, because I'm having a hard time trying to figure out
Of course you are. Phobias are debilitating.
Yeah.
Phobias are
Not
obsessive.
really. It's just every time I thought about it, I'm thinking, wow, do I really have a phobia about phobia?
Of course.
Mr. Sakabubi, or what?
Mr. Feijoada, you can call me Saku.
Saku. His is kind of stupider than mine, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it is. They're all pretty stupid. I'm not sure which I'd choose among them myself.
You wouldn't choose mine.
No, I suppose not.
It's no good at all.
Getting back to this car thing, Mr. Corey, I still am having trouble grasping this. Supposing the car, it's a European car, it's been through an American car wash. How do you feel about that? The car's got American soap on it. It's maybe got a little bit of American wax on the car.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Were the brushes made in America inside the car wash?
Well, let's say no. Japanese brushes, American soap.
Okay, am I in the car?
Let's say you're in the car.
Okay. I might be inclined to roll down the window and you know, get all wet or something. I mean, I kind of, it's like if I'm in the car and it's a foreign car and I think it's a foreign car and I find out there's just some small thing about it that's American, it kind of short circuits my brain. Like I run into a telephone pole or hit pedestrians or something.
We're dwelling, Mr. Corey.
I'm sorry.
We're dwelling on the negative part of it. We've talked about this. You don't want to accentuate the negative.
I know, and I've been coming to you for months seeking the positive part of it.
That's right. That's right. And we're making progress. I think you can agree with that.
Well, in a few minutes, I'd like to hear exactly what kind of therapy that you're getting here. Let's take another call. See if we have another comment. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, I've got a problem for Dr. Sally that I'd like to ask about.
Okay, go ahead.
I've got a fear of television talk shows. I'm afraid that they're always talking about me.
Believe me, nothing could be further from our minds than your problems. Evidently, you've overcome your phobia enough to give us a call.
I don't have the screen on. I've just got the sound on.
Is this Larry Crenshaw down in 70th? It sounds like him. If it's Larry Crenshaw, the guy's a jerk. He's really a jerk.
Most people with severe phobias are jerks. That's the title of my book, How to Overcome Your Phobia and Quit Being a Schmuck.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
If you have a phobia, and your phobia is talk shows, then for God's sake, stop watching the talk show. It's just that easy.
In fact,
take control. Don't be a putz. It's just that easy.
He didn't even graduate from high school.
Now, you've been helping Mr. Corey with this bizarre car phobia for some time.
That's right.
How are you trying to help him overcome this?
Well, I believe in a reality therapy approach to start out with. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care. He shouldn't care. The first thing that we want to do is ask him what it is you're really afraid of. What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid I'll die in that car if I don't get out of it.
You're afraid you'll die in the car?
Mm-hmm.
You're afraid you'll die in the car?
Mm-hmm. An American car.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
That's not very professional, is it?
That's very professional because that's reality.
Now, how did this come about?
Now, there are several things that I use. One of the things that I use is aversion therapy.
Uh-huh.
Now, if he says something like this, when we're in therapy, and it's a really stupid thing,
uh-huh,
I give him one of these.
Okay. Okay.
It makes him wake up. It shakes him up a little bit. It makes him think about it. It makes him think, is this what I really feel? Now, is that what you really feel? Are you really afraid?
No.
Well, I sort of have a question about this because, see, I don't know if it's exactly what I feel like. You guys really aren't in my league, sort of. I mean, you know, if you're afraid of American cars, I say buy a Toyota or something. I don't exactly have that same option.
You can buy a Toyota.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. He's got me there totally.
Well, we still didn't really get an answer out of you, Mr. Lundberg. Your phobia. Let's hear a little bit more about this phobia of yours, this auto or autophobia. What exactly is it?
Well, I thought I already said it. Didn't I? I don't really want to say it again. I mean,
The more you can say it, identify it. Identify it, Sandy. Say it.
Well, I just
What are you afraid of? Say it.
What it is you're afraid of. There's some kind of sexual problem here, but what are you afraid of?
well, I guess I'm afraid of getting hurt. I mean, you know.
Careful. I mean, could you use a lotion or something?
Don't even say, oh, I can't even think about that. In my book, I have Guinness Book of World Records, and I can just, like, tell you the largest blast furnace if you want it.
Well,
Do you see what he's doing? Do you see what he's doing? He is waffling. He is waffling on the issue.
can't
He's
help
not
it.
addressing his phobia.
Help
He's
it.
not looking it in the face. He's not saying, whoa, this is what I'm afraid
Sometimes
of.
it helps to just, like, immerse myself in this kind of information.
Sometimes mine's a real blast furnace. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really...
Oh,
Fantasy
man.
land is what we're talking about.
Blast furnace.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a call. See what somebody thinks out there. Hello, you're on the air. What do you think about these phobias? Do you have any phobias yourself?
No, actually I don't.
Okay, so what about these guys? Are they for real, do you think, or what?
Well, I've just got some advice for Edsel.
Yeah.
I think I should throw you in a 76 Pinto. Belt you in. I will be wearing rain gear. Drive you down the freeway in rush hour at 80 miles an hour. Mind you, you're in a Ford. You're in an American-made car. Then I'm going to make you vomit, and you're just going to vomit and vomit continuously. You're going to break out in hives, and then by the time you're done, you ever get that numb feeling after you vomit all that much? You'd be so numb, you'd actually be relaxed in an American-made car. Think about the potential. You wouldn't be wasting your money on this chick, and it's an easy cure. I tell you, after you vomit, you'll never want to puke in an American-made car again.
Are you a doctor?
Huh?
Are you a doctor?
No, not at all.
Because she's already done all that.
She's not a doctor, but what she's operating on is a sound principle. It's a sound principle, Sucko.
I see.
The principle is face your fear.
What?
Face it. Identify it. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
You face the fear, you identify it, and then you find out what's the worst that can happen.
So you feel you've been having some success with your
Well,
therapy?
it's going slow with this particular man. He's in love with his phobia. He's in love with it. He holds it. He thinks about it a lot. We did a tape of one of the pieces of therapy that we did with Edsel.
Great job, doctor.
Maybe we should see that tape. Are we ready? Do we have the tape ready to roll?
This was outside the Ruthie Institute here in Seattle. Dr. Sally Ruthie,
Outside. Is that
author
tape?
of the famous book.
Is that tape queued up? Maybe we can take a look at this tape here.
Mr. Corey, this is a Toyota. This is a Toyota we're going to put you into today. Mr. Corey has an unreasoning fear of American cars. And I think that one of the ways the Ruthie Institute has decided to work with Mr. Corey is to put him into first foreign cars, and then we'll work up to the big American car, won't we, Mr. Corey? Let's just try the Toyota.
I'm paying you for that. So
Okay. Toyota first.
This is a Toyota?
That's what it is.
It's a funny looking car.
It's a foreign car. Many foreign cars are funny looking.
Right.
Well, let me open the door for you, Mr. Corey.
This isn't an American car.
No.
It's not an American car.
No, it's not.
It's not. This is not an American car. It's not an American car.
No, it's not. This is a big step for you, Mr. Corey. I'm proud of you. Step right in. Just step right in.
Is there any Japanese writing or anything on it?
The fabric is Japanese. It's a raw silk. It's a raw silk covering there. Keep going, Mr. Corey. Good job. Good job. Good job, Mr. Corey. I'm proud of you. Right in there. Just right in there. Just go for it. You can't overcome it. That's right. That's right. Slide right in there, Mr. Corey. That's good.
Could you leave the window open? That'd be okay.
Of course.
This is a foreign car. It's a Japanese car.
This is a foreign car. Let me fasten the safety belt for you, Mr. Corey.
Okay, fine.
Okay? Now, see, it is a foreign car because it's difficult to figure out that. There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, good.
I'm just going to just slide this right over there.
Okay.
Just fasten you right in. Does that feel good?
Feels
Nothing to be afraid of.
Okay, this is a Japanese car.
Japanese.
Okay, I don't mind Japanese
Hyundai.
cars.
It's a Toyota.
It's a Toyota.
It's a Toyota.
A Japanese Hyundai Toyota.
Yes, it's a very foreign car.
I've kind of heard of that.
If you feel how good that feels,
Okay.
there's nothing to be afraid of here, is there? That's right. Deep breathing. Deep breathing.
It's got a radio.
That's right. It's a Japanese radio.
The Japanese, their numbers look the same as ours.
They've done that on purpose for the American consumer.
Oh, great.
So,
That's
That's right. Grip the steering wheel.
How do you spell Toyota?
That would be Toyota. That's a Toyota.
Here it says Ford.
That's a model number. This is the Ford model of Toyota.
This is a Ford.
Model of Toyota.
Ford is Ford. That's an American car. That's an American car.
It's
a Ford,
okay.
This is not a Toyota. This is a Ford.
Mr. Corey.
This is an old Ford.
Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply.
No.
Mr. Corey. Breathe deeply, Mr. Corey. Come on.
Get me out of here!
Come on now.
Go, get me out!
Mr. Corey.
Let me out!
Phase 1 isn't working as well as we'd hoped. We'll continue to work with Mr. Corey and get back to you later. Thank you. Mr. Corey. Mr. Corey. Mr. Corey, it's all right.
Very interesting. This brings an interesting question, Dr. Ruthie. Just how much do you charge for the kind of therapy that we've just seen?
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Well, let's
That's irrelevant, Sako.
May we, Saku, may we be the judge, Dr. Ruthie, of whether it's relevant or not? What do you charge?
I think that a more relevant question is going to be, does it work? Is it working? Does it work? This man has a problem.
A lot. She charges a lot.
This
Well,
man
could you
has
tell
a
us-
serious problem.
What, you mean you're not going to tell us how much you charge?
It's irrelevant.
All right.
Let me ask you, Sako. How much do
Saku,
you charge?
how much do I charge for what?
Well, obviously you're making a lot of money being a big television personality.
Excuse me. The issue here is not me and what I do and how much money I make. The issue here is phobias.
That's
You're
right.
a phobia therapist, and you supposedly are helping this basket case, maybe.
right.
How much are you charging him for this?
I would say a fair amount. I would. And I'll tell you something else, Sako.
Saku Feijoado.
You're a little hostile, aren't you? Just a little hostile.
No,
I think that you have just a little problem here. I think maybe you're just having a little problem with perhaps powerful women who are in control of their lives.
Dream on, lady.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
I
with
think it's a
powerful
red
women.
herring. It's a red herring. that
It
you're
sure
throwing
is.
out.
It sure is. You're not going to tell us how much you charge, huh?
I think that what we need to address here are two people who are in a great deal of trouble. Now, we have here a gentleman, poor Sandy.
Yeah.
This man is not able to participate. He's sitting there reading Guinness Book of World Records.
Because it really helps to keep my mind off of everything. It really
Why
does.
don't you ask me as
And
a
it
therapist
only costs $2 in a used bookstore.
how to help this man?
Well, how
this
are you
man does
helping
not
this man?
have a normal social life.
And that's a really good question because, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, doctor, but with him you could put him in a car, I want to know what exactly my therapy is going to consist of.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Of course, of course.
Are you proposing social masturbation? You said you're not having a regular social life? Is that
Come
what
on, come on.
No.
Speed on water. Highest speed ever achieved on water is
Even
like
the mere
300
mention
knots.
of the slightest sexual nature causes this man to go into it. Look at he's miserable.
I think the solution to this problem is very, very simple. He's afraid of masturbating. For some reason, he's afraid
It's
of
a
masturbating.
larger
Because he's going to get hurt or
issue.
something. I don't know. So, Mr. Lundberg, why don't you just have sex with a woman?
Oh, you see, you're missing the point here entirely, Sako.
You are.
It's because I sometimes do get with women. The problem
Is it meaningful?
Well, it's not too hot, but, it's okay. I like it. But the problem really is later on, they just won't stay with me forever. And going home,
Man's best friend.
Oh, the highest and lowest notes ever were like in India on an organ.
Do you see what we're dealing with here?
On an organ?
This man is in serious need of help. Luckily, he looked in the yellow pages. He came to Dr. Sally Ruthie.
Okay, let's take a call. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi.
Okay, do you have a phobia?
Well, yeah, my phobia is phones, but see, I've pretty much overcome that, haven't I then?
Good for you.
Oh, yeah, I guess you have.
Yeah, so my point is, what are all these people's problems? Why can't they just deal with it like I've dealt with my phobia?
Believe me, I don't know. I don't know.
I can dial a phone just fine.
Well, are you phobic of a phone?
No.
Well, then I don't understand your point then.
Well, you said that we could take care of our problems, and you have a problem of dialing phones, and I don't have that problem.
Oh, well, I suppose you feel good about that then.
I certainly do.
Now, this phone problem, is it rotary, touch tone?
Well, it's mostly not so much the touch tone, but the phones with buttons, but their pulse. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Commonly held fear. That is a phobia that's spread with the spread of the Conair phone.
Uh-huh.
What if the phone was in a car, like a car phone? I wonder how that would be.
I don't know.
Wait, Mr. Fesquado?
Feijoado. Feijoado.
Succo.
Succo.
I believe so.
Succo?
Saku.
I think he said Saku,
Feijoado.
yeah.
It's very simple.
Why don't we
Very
get to
good
the
name for
kind of therapy that is provided at the Ruthie Institute for people who are suffering from debilitating fears, obsessive fears, or phobias? Is that not the subject that we're dealing with here tonight?
Yeah, that's one of them. What are you doing for Mr. Lundberg?
Now, Mr. Lundberg is a brand new patient, actually. I just seen him today, and I've learned a great deal about Mr. Lundberg just from listening to him tonight, watching and observing him.
Okay, so what therapy do you suggest?
Well, I think that first of all, we need to identify the fact that his fear, his obsessive fear, which has become a phobia, you drink a lot, sucko.
What I do is my business.
His fear is preventing him from reaching out and having a meaningful relationship with another human being.
Uh-huh.
He is unable to reach out to himself,
Oh, exactly.
and therefore, in a very symbolic way, he's unable to reach out to others.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
So we're going to take this right down to the level that Sandy can relate to, the same way that we're doing with you, Edsel. You just hang in there with Ruthie.
I can masturbate just fine.
Don't say that, please. Did you know the highest index figure on the Dow Jones average?
The first thing that we're going to do, Sandy, give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Okay.
Now, this is a very simple therapy.
Yeah? It's a rubber band.
That's right.
So what's this going to do?
We want Sandy to have positive thoughts about touching himself.
Kind of goes with my outfit.
He likes it already.
Okay, so what's it going to do?
When he has a positive thought about touching his person, he can leave the rubber band as it is.
Okay.
When he has a negative thought about reaching out in a meaningful way to himself,
Yeah.
he needs to just pull it like this and just...
Ow!
That's right.
And this is going to help him.
Simple, yet effective.
All right.
It really works.
This is
It
sort of
might
like-
be able to help you, Saki.
Ouch.
Saku. The name is Saku. What's so hard to say about that? Okay, let's take another call. We've seen some examples of some therapy. Do we have a caller out there?
Yeah, where's Spud?
I'm
Spud
sorry?
Goodman. Where's Spud Goodman?
That's a different show. It's a different show. It's a different time. This is Call Us Now. Okay? It's a talk show. We're discussing phobias. Do you have a phobia?
Yeah,
Well, let's hear it. What is it?
I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
Bikes.
Bikes.
Yeah.
I see another transportational problem here. It
Are
seems
you afraid to ride them, or are you just afraid to be near them?
I'm afraid to ride them, and I'm afraid of skateboards, too.
That's a wise fear. How old are you?
I'm 17.
What are you doing watching a show like this? Why aren't you reading something like Black Beauty?
Black Beauty.
Good God.
Lick Bush in 88.
All right. I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know.
You're
That's
awfully
obvious to us.
sensitive about this. And
Yeah.
You claim you don't have any phobias?
I don't have any serious phobias. I'm, I get a bit upset when I'm at a great height. The sensible phobias. I'm afraid of
Sensible phobia.
sensible phobias. Sensible phobias. Yes, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of drowning. I'm afraid of being dismembered. The things that
those are
What happens when you're swimming in a pool on the top of the Hilton? I mean, is that...
That's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean, we're supposed to be afraid of certain things, right? Fear, good fear is healthy. The right kind of fear is it keeps you out of trouble.
That's absolutely true.
Okay.
It's like it's appropriate.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Appropriate behavior.
That's
But-
right. And because you're thinking that, you don't have to snap yourself.
Oh, that's
You see
really
how that's
cool because
working?
my wrist is getting sore.
Your
That's right.
fingers
Okay.
are kind of puffing up here. They look
Yeah,
like, well, no, they...
Is there going to be food?
Yeah, we'll get you something, Sandy. We'll get you some to eat later on.
But as a therapist, I've noticed, Sarko,
Saku. Go ahead.
that you seem to have a very hostile reaction to the normal mispronunciation of an unusual, let's face it, foreign
That's
name.
no name for a talk show host, that's for sure.
You're replacing a man named Bill.
Yeah? So?
I think I rest my case.
yeah.
You have a problem with my name?
Well,
I don't think
Fezziwig? Was
we
it
do.
Sacco
Well,
Fezziwig?
what? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But suddenly we're talking about my name. A perfectly straightforward name. And suddenly we're not talking phobias anymore. We're talking about names. I just don't see the relevance of this.
We're talking in a larger sense about mental health, aren't we? Aren't we? We're talking about mental health, aren't we? Aren't we?
Let's take a
Right,
call.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
We'll take a call here. Hello, anybody out there?
Yes. This is Sandy.
Uh-huh.
My name is Kitty, and I think we have like a similar problem because day in, day out, every minute I'm thinking of men and like sex, and I think that you and I should get together and like have a wonderful marriage and stuff envelopes for a living and never be separated from each other. What do you think?
Is she talking to me?
She
She's
sure
talking
is.
to you, Sandy.
I tell
Can
you,
you
Sonny,
respond?
Yeah, I can
Oh,
respond.
Sandy, I think we'd be wonderful together. I mean, you're everything I've ever dreamed of.
That would be really totally cool. Really totally cool. You could totally be my answer. But of course, you couldn't leave me alone for a minute. That's the thing.
Only if you have to go potty.
Oh, God. She's gone already? Oh, she's still there. Good.
And only if you have to go potty. She's willing to let you go potty.
Oh,
It sounds like a great arrangement, Sandy. I'd take it if I were you.
it sure does. 'Cause
Can I meet you outside the studio tonight?
yeah, that's great. I won't have to take my medication if you show up at the right time.
That's great.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
What time will you be done?
Well, I think we're about done, but unless there's food, you'd have to wait.
Yeah, have her bring you a
And then we're-
sandwich or something.
'cause
Don't
we're-
waffle, Sandy. Don't
For it,
waffle.
Sandy.
Okay, sure.
Take charge of it.
Sure.
Bring him
What am I
something to
supposed to
eat.
say?
Okay.
Oh, that-
She'll be out there.
That's
He'll be out
great.
there.
Wow.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry, Kitty. We'll make sure he's there. And we're going to fix you up.
Her name is
You saw
Kitty?
it here on Call Us Now. Okay?
I
Talk
love that
shows are
woman
useful.
so much.
They're part of our culture. Without talk shows, this country wouldn't be anything.
Let's go back to the fellow who was afraid of talk shows and let him think about what just happened here. I think we saw something in the nature of a miracle cure.
Right.
Mr. Peach Fuzz, it's like his problem is... Fishwadu. His problem's taken care of, and and
Sorta, but what happens until she gets here? Like, I'm starting to wish I could, touch myself or something. Until later. The Taj Mahal was built all for a woman. I
Snap
didn't know
yourself,
that.
Sandy.
Oh,
Snap yourself.
Let me, Mr. Corey, how did this start? This phobia, this car phobia.
Not too bad.
when I was a child,
Smells like soap.
my parents always had foreign cars. It was kind of unusual. I was born in '47. It's like
Yeah.
they had a Hillman back then, and then we got one of the first Volkswagens that ever came to the country, and it was always foreign cars. I never had any experience with American cars, and then, well, Marianne Deschelle, my very first girlfriend, I was in the 9th grade, real girlfriend, she told me in her dad's new Merc Monterey that she thought I was a jerk, and I think that might be.